Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one over the 4-game NBA slate for today on Draftkings. And also, before we continue, Happy New Year's. Hope you guys had a great night last night. Hope you guys have a fantastic day as well. And hope you guys had a good holidays too. And hopefully you had a good 2019. And hopefully we can continue that into the 2020 year and have a great year for DFS purposes. And before we continue, as always, if you guys could just drop a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. And if you want access to the content I work on the entire day, it's the spreadsheet I build every single day for the NBA season. Links available in the description below for my Patreon. And if you do want to sign up for Patreon, it's the best day to do so because it is January 1st, and Patreon charges you on the 1st. So you will get the longest amount of time possible of access to this. So it's the best bang for your buck, I should say, and it's only like $10 a month. So I think it's a pretty good price, especially considering we have like 30 slates a month. So not too bad. And it's just what I use to make my videos. So if you like my videos, you'll definitely like this, and it'll just have everything. You'll just have access to everything, so you don't have to remember everything I say in my videos. I still recommend watching them, but just to show you, it's got the player info on here, the matchups, Vegas totals when they come out. There's only like one out right now, so I can't really load those up yet. Pace of play, so you can identify teams that play fast, teams that play slow. The advanced statistics I like to use and talk about on just every single video. The average minutes per game, DraftKings points per minute, FanDuel points per minute, BR usage rate, all that good stuff. It's also got the basic statistics like what DraftKings uses, like points scored, assists, all that stuff. And I do my projections at the very end. And then I also have my projected minutes here as well, which as of right now I do not have that loaded, and they're all 0 at the moment. But I will have that updated by tomorrow, obviously. And I update that all the way up until lock, and also have my defense versus position chart as well, so you can identify players that would be in good matchups. So let's say point guards going up against Cleveland. Obviously, that's going to be a fantastic matchup because they are straight buns versus point guards. Then I also have my cheat sheet I build every single night and update until lock as well. So you get my most up-to-date information. I don't just do it and then leave it. I update it all the way up until lock. All right, so without further ado, and without sounding like a commercial for so long, let's get into the DraftKings slate. I also have a Discord chat as well. All right, so let me pause this and get into DraftKings really quick. All right, so we're back. So we're going to talk about Giannis first. And really, Giannis is obviously a fantastic fantasy player just because he does everything in the stat sheet. But the problem is I don't see how the Bucks really don't blow out the Timberwolves here. The Bucks tend to pretty much beat every team they play pretty handily. And now they face off versus Minnesota, who's going to be without their two top scorers in Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. And also T looks pretty doubtful for this game. So it's going to be tough sledding for many here. I think there's a lot of good value options in Minnesota, but I just don't see how they keep this game too close for that long. But I like the game environment here because this game should be a track meet. Both teams they're actually the two fastest teams in pace of play so far this season. Minnesota is first in pace of play. Milwaukee is second. So I like the upside there in a really fast-paced game. It's the fastest-paced game you could ask for. And now I said this game could be a blowout. And this could be one of the games where Giannis only plays like 25 minutes. Like last game versus Chicago, only played 27 minutes, still had 45 fantasy points, and that's just what Giannis can do. But if he's not going to play 35 minutes, you're not going to get the major upside that comes with Giannis, and he's priced at $11,200. So you need him to play like 30 plus minutes. If he's going to play 25, 26 minutes, you're just not going to get there. I mean, he's going to score like 50 to 55 fantasy points, which is great for most players. But when you're playing 11,200 for someone, I just need Giannis in a competitive game. I'm not so sure we're going to get that, but obviously you guys know the guy's fantastic. He has a near 40% usage rate this year. He has 1.9 points per minute, which no one else even comes close to. I think Luka's like at 1.75, but Giannis is on a whole other tier. Just the problem is the minutes aren't always there. I mean, we've seen it 27 minutes. That's not going to do it. 30 minutes is okay. 31 minutes is okay. He's still at 63 points, 50 points. 26 minutes versus New York, 58 fantasy points. I mean, that's pretty solid, but 26 minutes, man, you're pushing it. I mean, only Giannis can really do that in that amount of time on a nightly basis. But 32 minutes versus the Lakers, 64 points. 34 minutes versus Dallas, 76 points. So when he's getting a full allotment of minutes, we know the damage he can do. Only 24 minutes versus Cleveland, 44 points. I mean, he's still good on a point per minute basis, but if he's not getting those 30 plus minutes, we're probably going to be disappointed. And to be honest, a lot of times it does not happen. So if you think the game can stay close, you could play him in GPPs, but I'm not totally sure you have to get there in cash games. But when he's on the court, I will say he should smash. So like Giannis for when he's on the court, I'm just not totally sure how long he's actually going to be on the court. We don't have a spread left. We don't have a spread out for this game yet, so I can't even tell you the spread, but I have to assume it's going to be Milwaukee's favor pretty handedly. But LeBron, he's actually my favorite spend up as of right now because this is a great spot here versus Phoenix. We have a 226 total, and it's also the late game hammer. So if you want to load up on the late game, there's definitely a lot of big names you could do that with. And Phoenix also plays fast. They're 8th in pace of play, so it's a nice pace up spot here for LeBron and the Lakers. And they also rank 23rd versus point guards, and just really aren't that good defensively. So this is a pretty good spot for LeBron. He has 1.53 points per minute this season, 31.5% usage rate, and he's a triple-double threat every single night. He's just a monster in the assist category. He can get the rebounds as well. He can score 20-plus points. Like LeBron here, I think he can flirt with 60 fantasy points in this matchup, and he's also about 1,000 cheaper than Giannis, so I do like that. Carlton Towns, he was already ruled out, so they did us a favor. Instead of waiting till like 30 minutes before lock, they actually ruled him out quick, so I do appreciate the I'm in baseball mode, I guess. I appreciate the Wolves just being kind to fantasy owners here. Anthony Davis at 9,900. He's listed as questionable, but he's probable for the game as per usual with Anthony Davis. And I really like both Lakers here. So don't mind if you want to stack up the studs if you want the late night hammers, because they're going to be high owned and you might fall behind quick if you don't have exposure to one of these guys at least. And I already talked about the matchup, so I'm not going to repeat it, but it's a good spot versus Phoenix. Pace up spot, not that great defensively. But individually, Phoenix does struggle with big men. They rank 20th versus them, so I could see Anthony Davis eating down low here. And also, Ayton being back is a big benefit to Davis, as he's one of the worst defenders in the league, and he should be able to eat him up. He will not be able to stop Anthony Davis here. He's got a 30.5% usage rate this season, 1.46 points per minute. I think AD is a fantastic option if you want to play both Lakers studs. Damian Lillard. I don't love Damian Lillard on this slate. He's priced to 9,200, which I think is more of a fair price. The last game, I think he was like 83 or 85, if I remember correctly, and that's just a little bit too cheap. But when you're above 9K, I'm not typically one to play Damian Lillard too much instead of when he's a little bit too cheap. It's actually a good matchup individually versus New York. They rank 24th versus point guards, but I just don't really see myself going that way. I'd rather just find the extra 700 for Anthony Davis or just play both Lakers studs. So I'm probably not going to play Damian Lillard. Hassan Whiteside, you could look his way too, but this is actually not a good matchup for him individually because New York is pretty good versus centers. They ranked 5th versus the position, but the guy's just been insane this season for the most part. He's averaging nearly I think he's like a 1.33 points per minute this season. He's been fantastic, and the minutes are no longer an issue. He's going to see big minutes every single night. He had 37 minutes the last game versus Phoenix, 22 boards, 16 points. This is one of my favorite fantasy players. Now, Draftkings realized their mistake and priced him up. He was 7,100 versus Phoenix. Now he's all the way up to 8,300. So we're not getting him at a discount. I really don't see myself playing him, but he's a fine GPP play because we know the upside, and the guy's been fantastic this season. But I'd rather save 100 and play Nikola Vucevic here at 8,200. I think he's a great play on this slate. And he gets an elite spot here versus the Wizards. And no team total yet, but I have to assume it's going to be decently high for the Magic. Wizards are trash on defense, ranking 3rd worst, and they're 27th versus centers. So I love the spot for Vooch here, and it's a big pace-up spot as well, as the Magic are dead last in pace of play. They play extremely slow, 30th, but the Wizards are 7th, so they should be playing a little bit fast here, and he's got a 25% usage rate in the season, 1.29 points per minute. I think he's a safe bet for 40-plus fantasy points at a fair price tag of 8,200, so I will be looking to play him tomorrow as of right now. I also like Julius Randle, and going against Hassan Whiteside here. He's at 8K, and I think the price is deserved. Now, unfortunately, it's not in that 6K range like it used to be, but still, he's been pretty solid the past 3 games, and he actually had 3 pretty good matchups, and he smashed. He did what he was supposed to do. Versus Washington, 61 points. Versus Brooklyn, 47 points. Versus Washington, again, 50 fantasy points. Now, the good matchups continue here versus Portland, as they are one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and they actually, especially versus big men, they're ranked 26th versus centers. And and also they're pretty bad versus power forwards as well, whatever spot you want to say Julius Randle is. And it's a pace-up spot for the Knicks. Knicks play pretty slow. Portland's a little bit above average in pace-up play, so I do like a pace-up spot. And he's been good, 27% usage rate, 1.2 points per minute. I think Julius Randle is a pretty solid play on this slate. Now, if you had to ask me if I want to play Julius Randle or Nikola Vucevic, I'm going to play Vucevic, but I think Julius Randle is fine in GPPs. I would expect his ownership to be a little bit lower. Middleton's fine if you just want exposure to the Milwaukee Bucks there versus Minnesota, because this game's going to be played pretty fast. Minnesota's not very good defensively. I just don't really see myself playing Middleton. I don't like playing Middleton when Giannis is on the court. I'll play Middleton any day that Giannis is off, but not really a lot of interest in Middleton. Devin Booker gets a tough matchup versus the Lakers. You could play him if you just want to game stack that up, but just know it's a pretty tough matchup. But versus guards, they've actually been a little bit mid-pack, and they've been great down low. So I don't hate the idea of maybe using Devin Booker. If you're using the 2 Lakers studs, you could just game stack that up, but not a core play for me by any means. And then we're actually going to skip quite a few guys. Andrew Wiggins is out, so we'll talk about that. DeAndre Ayton, no thank you, versus the Lakers. Jonathan Isaac. So if Aaron Gordon misses the game, he's listed as questionable right now. But if he misses the game, Isaacs will see a little bit of extended run here. Should see about 35 minutes in this game. Had a good game last time out versus Atlanta. He had 13 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals. He does pretty much a little bit of everything. Did have a 7-steal game versus Milwaukee, but you can't really count on that. But going up against Washington, one of the worst defensive teams in the league, pace up spot for the Magic. I don't hate Jonathan Isaac here. I think he'd be a solid play as long as Aaron Gordon happens to be out. Kelly Oubre, he's been smashing the past couple games, but not a lot of interest versus the Lakers. They're just so good defensively. You could look at Gorgui Deng. We already know Karl-Anthony Towns is out. We know that Andrew Wiggins is out. We know Jeff Teague is probably not going to play. So Gorgui Deng, again, he has been a solid play pretty much every single time Karl-Anthony Towns has been out. Of course, I played him versus Cleveland, so he sucked, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Inexplicable. You know the word I'm trying to say. Inexplicable. You guys get it. He only played 23 minutes at 25 points, but he should be a good play here. Without Towns, Teague, and Wiggins on the court, he's averaging 1.3 points per minute, and it's a good matchup versus Milwaukee. They're ranked 22nd versus center, so I don't hate the idea of using Gorgui Deng here. He should be an okay play at 6,400. Mitchell Robinson, not a big fan. Evan Fournier, if you just want exposure to the Magic going up against the Wizards, I don't hate it. Past 3 games have been pretty good. 36 points, 32, 29 minutes are always going to be safe with Fournier. He's an okay mid-range option. I don't hate it. Elfrid Payton. So there's a lot of injuries to the New York Knicks, the guard position. So if all the guys that are possibly going to be out, Ntilikina, I forget the rest off the top of my head, but he's going to play as many minutes as he can. He should play over 30 minutes, and he's been over a point per minute this season with all those guys off the court. So I wouldn't hate the idea of using Elfrid Payton. But as of right now, I don't know the injury status. But he could be an okay play versus Portland. It is a pace-up spot. They're not very good defensively, so it's not the worst idea in the world. All right, scrolling down some more. We could look at Shabazz Napier. He absolutely murdered in the last game. He definitely overtook Teague in the last one. He played 34 minutes. Now, again, that was overtime, so I guess you could say he played 29 minutes. But still, he had a great game. 24 points, 8 assists, 3 boards, 2 steals, 43 fantasy points. He played great. Now, he did get the price jump, unfortunately. But he should see 30 minutes in this game. 29, 30 minutes. And he's been about a point per minute guy this year, which is pretty darn solid. And with all these guys off the court, he's got a 30% usage rate, which is also pretty good. And this is a good game environment for pace purposes. Now, could they get blown out? Yes, but they're missing a lot of bodies. So, I mean, he's just going to have to be on the court no matter what. And Milwaukee actually is 17th versus point guard. So, Shabazz Napier, I don't think he's a terrible mid-range play on this slate. Just don't like the price hike he took. So, he's not really a value play anymore, but he's an okay mid-range play. Jordan McRae, I actually played Jordan McRae in the last game, and he had one of the probably his best game he's ever going to have in his career. He had 29 points, 8 assists, 4 boards, 2 steals, and a block in 35 minutes. 6 for 8 from deep. Is he going to do it again? No. And he's got a tough matchup versus the Magic. I will personally pass. If people want to just game log watch and play him, that's fine with me. But at 5,800, I'm going to have to pass on Jordan McRae. Marcus Morris, I don't hate it versus Portland. The minutes are a little bit sporadic with the guy, but not one of my favorite plays. But 5,700 is not the worst. But I don't even know why I brought him up. I really don't have a lot of interest in Marcus Morris. Let's see, just going down the list here. If Bradley Beal doesn't play, you could play Gary Payton. He's been playing big minutes recently. Well, I shouldn't say the last game versus Miami he did not, but then 30 minutes, 31, 34. We'll see. I think Bradley Beal plays in this game, though, so not too much interest in Gary Payton, but the price did come back down. I think he was 6,200 in the last game. But just going down even some more here, we could talk about, I guess we can just talk about some value plays because there's really not a lot of interest I have in any of these guys in this price range. Jeff Teague, I don't expect to play. So you could look at Jarrett Culver here at 4,800. Again, he's another guy who got a price hike. All these guys on the Timberwolves got a price hike. But he had a good game last time out. He played 38 minutes. Again, overtime, but still we would have had over 30 minutes. 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 block, 3 steals, 21 points, 41 fantasy points. Pretty darn good. More of a ceiling game for Jarrett Culver, but it happens, so we have to talk about it. Running the numbers with all the guys out the court. He has a 23% usage rate, averaging 0.71 points per minute. Not a bad value play. So don't hate using Jarrett Culver. This game's going to be played pretty fast, so should be fantasy point opportunities here. Milwaukee's not a defensive juggernaut, but not the cakewalk either. So I don't hate any of these Minnesota guys. I mean, someone's got to score fantasy points for these guys because they're missing some very key pieces in Wiggins, potentially Teagues, and Karl-Anthony Towns. So don't hate it. Scrolling down some more, I think I want to talk about Martin here. So I think it's Kalin Martin. I have to assume Kalin Martin. So he actually drew the start in the last game, and he played 35 minutes. Again, overtime might have helped out a little bit, but still, he's going to play big minutes regardless. And relative to his price tag, he's played very well the past 2 games. He had 30 minutes versus Cleveland, had 28 fantasy points, and then versus Brooklyn, 35 minutes, 22 fantasy points. Not terrible. And running the numbers of these guys off the court, the numbers suck. Only 0.5 points per minute and a 16% usage rate. But again, he's still pretty cheap at 4K, and if he's going to start again and get big minutes in a fast-paced game, I think he'll be fine. There's just a lack of bodies for Minnesota, so someone's going to have to soak up this usage and score points, and I think Kalin Martin can trip and fall his way into 20-plus fantasy points like he has the past 2 games, so I don't hate the idea of using Kalin Martin. And as of right now, I think that's about it, to be honest. That's about as low as I would go. I think Koji is okay, he's probable, so I was just making sure I didn't miss something. I didn't think he was going to miss the game. But I'm never one to play a Koji. The guy just absolutely sucks. So I think Martin's the lowest I would go right now, and obviously things can open up throughout the day. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. Hope this video was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. If you want to check out the Patreon content, you can definitely do so. Hit the link available in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.